things are sacred to me. Nature is sacred, music is sacred. You know, when I play music, to me, it's a sacred experience. I feel like there's something, you know, happening on our planet right now. I feel like there's like, you know, an ancient signal, you know, which I like to call the spirit. Up and down, lost, been found, been need. Not Exactly Nashville. And also the songs in Texas radio too, all reflect that time that I went through, man. You know what I mean? Wandering in the desert, you know, with like, you know, being, you know, coming face to face with the darkness. You've been me, caged, been free, then repeated. Like, I think of myself as a gardener. And I look at like the whole, like, world, like everything as a garden in which to improve and prune and participate in and grow. That's what I think art is. And I think that artists are going to save the world. You know that. Never look back, I never look back.
Well, are you doing the...
All right.
I thought you were just going to do the plug. Without me, like...
Yeah, I was waiting for him. I was waiting for him.
Hold on, yeah, so I'm recording.
Okay.
Welcome back to the Country Jam Sessions. This is your host, Johnny Daggers, and I am here with Mr. C.M. Talkington, writer, director, and musician. Welcome back, Cardi.
It's good to be back.
So, we've talked in great detail about Love in the 45, but now I really want to talk to you about your newest project, your musical endeavor. You just released your debut album, Not Exactly Nashville, which... I have the vinyl right here. It is absolutely phenomenal. So let's talk about that. But let's digress for a second, because I don't want people to think that you just got into music recently. Before you moved to LA back in the day, as we spoke about, there was already kind of a version of a band that you were in called Texas Radio.
Yeah, and Texas Radio, all roads lead back to Scott Matthews, because Scott Matthews, remember my mentor from Texas, right? We started Texas Radio together, the original version, like in 1986. And we played, you know, we toured around, we played a bunch of parties, we played Deep Ellum, you know, we played the East Coast. And Scott is the guy that actually named Texas Radio. He's like, Cardi, I got a great name for your band. What do you think about Texas Radio? And I'm like, sounds really cool, you know, and I didn't really, you know, I just thought it sounded cool. And then, you know, he reminded me about the Doors song. And then he told me what it really meant, which was like about outlaw radio stations that were broadcasting from across the border, like broadcasting whatever they wanted to, no rules, you know, a signal being broadcast across the world. I was like, I like that. So again, Scott Matthews, thank you very much. Wherever you are, my friend, my brother. He was like my brother. So there he is. And then, I let Texas Radio go. I started a band in LA called The Furies, and we played all over LA, every punk club, all the famous places, the Troubadour, Shamrock, Raji's, Club Lingerie, Owls, what was the Russian, Gorky's, every place. We played everywhere. I can barely remember any of it. Seriously, I can barely remember any of it. But the Furies was my second band. And it was, you know, we used to play a lot in Silver Lake. And actually one of the guys, I guess, that discovered Jane's addiction. I'm trying to remember his name, but he saw us play. He was this real big time kind of like arts guy here in Silver Lake, and the gay sort of Silver Lake art scene. And he had something to do with Jane's addiction, discovered them at the beginning, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he saw us play somewhere and he loved us, the Furies. I didn't even know that he was actually legitimate at the time, so I'm just like, whatever. And he's like, and he had this club he was starting called Club Ass. I mentioned he was gay, right? And so, cause I lived down in Silver Lake and so like I was in the middle of all, so many of my friends were all gay. So there was a lot of that going on, whatever. It's all good now, right? But anyway, so he said, I want you guys to be my house band at Club Ass. And I'm like, what's Club Ass? And he said, I'm putting on a night of live music at this Leather and Levi's gay bar called The Detour once a week. Do you have a problem doing that? I'm like, dude, I'm up for anything. Do you know what I mean? Are you kidding? Just like, well, let's do it. So we go there the first time, and it's this I could show you where it is if you were here in LA. It's over there on Sunset Boulevard in Silver Lake. It was called The Detour. Now it's got a different name. It's this little small, scary looking building. And, we go in there and, there's no stage. So he put plywood on top of a pool table. And he's like, you guys are going to get up on top of that pool table and play on top of the pool table. Okay. So it's not that much room on a pool. It was a big pool table, but the whole band's up there on plywood on a pool table. This guy. And then he's like, and I've got 2 guys that are going to go-go dance while you guys play. Guys, because it's a gay bar, right? And so, but I mean, the show was not just gay. It was both, but it was like trying to get everybody to come. But it was pretty gay, man. And so, in fact, the gayness of it is what ultimately destroyed the whole thing because of my bass player. He was not cool with the gay thing. And so, I guess. So anyway, here we are. I mean, just imagine this, man. We're playing, I'm like 23 years old at this point, playing on a piece of plywood on top of a pool table in a Leather and Levi's, like, you know what that is, the gay bar. And I got 2 good-looking gay guys wearing leather body harnesses. That's all they're wearing. And we're not playing like that kind of music. You know what I mean? We're playing my kind of music. It's a little different. And they're dancing on either side of me as I'm singing. Don't you wish I had footage of that? Okay. And this guy, Paul, his name was Paul. And he was so cool. And so anyway, I've always just loved wild shit. You know what I mean? I'm just like, why would you? I mean, I want to do, let's do it. I'm telling you about it now. I'm glad I did it. But my bass player was a little uptight about things. And so anyway, at this bar, one of the interesting things about it was when you went to the men's room, and there was only one bathroom, the men's room. I don't even think there was a women's room. Maybe there was. But the men's room had a big, giant plexiglass viewing window on the door. What is that for? I don't know. And it goes back pretty far. It's a big viewing window. Okay? So, anyway, I noticed that. No big deal, And after our show, I hear all this problem coming from the bathroom area. And my bass player was in there. And then whatever they had the viewing window glass thing for was going on or starting to go on. And they were with him and he got freaked out. It got crazy and it all went nutty. So I calmed him down. But anyway, and we went back there and played a few times. I can't remember if he went back with us or not, but ultimately it petered out. But Paul was great. He was one of the first big fans, real people, you know what I mean, of my music. And then it all petered out. So that was my LA band during the early 90s, the Furies. And then Love in a 45 happened. So I put the music aside. I focused on filmmaking. And I kept writing songs and whatever, but I didn't really come back to music for several years later. And then I restarted a new version of Texas Radio with a guy who lives right next door to me, basically, Douglas Forrest. And we did all the recordings on Year of the Horse. And, Not Exactly Nashville is a solo record. It's not Texas Radio. It's not with Douglas. It's with different players. But I'm going to keep Texas Radio going. because I love it and I love playing with Douglas. And Texas Radio will be releasing an album really soon. I just don't want it to sort of distract from Not Exactly Nashville.
For our viewers at home, CM was kind enough to let me hear the Texas Radio album, and it's phenomenal. It's got more of a psychedelic feel to it than what Not Exactly Nashville will, but it's phenomenal. I love it. I also like the story about how you began to work with Douglas.
Yeah, well, again, this is me. I was talking about Renee being really driven and obsessive and on her thing. I can suffer from that too sometimes. And if I get an idea into my head, I'm not going to ever let it go. Okay. So I hadn't really been playing that. I actually, I went through a real rough period. You know what I mean? From like 1997 to like the early 2000s. I call it my desert, my personal desert that I went into, that I wandered in for quite a while. And things got really tough. I was lost. I was going through, it was a real soul-searching, catalyzing, transformative, intense, tough, beautiful, essential, and important time. And during that time, I actually ended up not even having a guitar. I actually ended up like pawning a guitar. I had to. I didn't have another one. People usually give me guitars. So anyway, I was without a guitar for a couple of years. And then when I moved back to LA from Texas, and my friend Jason Heath, who's got a rock band called Jason Heath and the Greedy Souls, and they're amazing. He's one of my oldest friends. He's like a brother. And he gave me his old guitar. And that guitar is Texcalibur, which I'll introduce you to. And I started writing songs again, right? Like in 2004, what am I saying? Like 2012, I started writing again. And that's when I started writing all the songs of Not Exactly Nashville. So that record, Not Exactly Nashville, and also the songs in Texas Radio too, all reflect that time that I went through, man. You know what I mean? Wandering in a desert, with like, being, coming face to face with the darkness, and having nothing and just being alone really. And figuring things out. And that's where I really learned who I was and what I was made of, and I got really, connected with just this spiritual force, this spiritual energy that I call the spirit, the river of the spirit. And it just started flowing through me.
You were working on a documentary at the time when all the music started to come to you.
Yeah, I was actually, yes, I was working on music when I was also making Mud Mules and Mountains. Yes. I actually spent more time on Mud Mules and Mountains at that time because I was, I'm doing a movie, I got to focus on it. But yes, I'd already started writing those songs.
Did that working on that documentary, did that open up some type of artistic channel that allowed you to just write more freely for the music, or?
Yeah, I don't know. It just, they weren't really tied together. But I really enjoyed making that movie, and I'd really love people to see it. It hasn't been seen very much, but anyway, yeah. About after the time I finished making that, then I really started focusing on the music. Like I said, there was this energy, this voice flowing through me that I connected to. And I just let it flow through me, and I wrote it down. And those songs are Not Exactly Nashville. And when you see the next Texas Radio record, those as well. So, they're about what the desert is a very harsh teacher, my friend, and it can kill you. But if you survive, then you learn many, many things, and you connect with something that sort of, like I said, I like to call it the river of the spirit. I like to say the wind rushes through me, not around me. It rushes through me. And, I guess I've had the benefit of having my ego pretty destroyed in my life, which has like opened my mind in a way that it never would have been opened.
Yeah, of course. Well, one of my favorite tracks, first of all, both the Texas Radio record and Not Exactly Nashville are both phenomenal, which is one of the reasons why I reached out to you in the first place, to get you on the show. My favorite song, I would have to say, one of my favorites. I can't choose one definitive favorite, but one of my favorites is a very personal song for you. And it's entitled Daddy Was a Gun.
Well, actually, yeah, you mean on the Texas radio, right? Yeah, that's not on Not Exactly Nashville. And what you heard was sort of a demo of it. We're gonna re-record that. You know, we're gonna do another recording of that. Texas radio is coming up soon with this amazing drummer, my soul brother drummer from Texas, from Dallas, Texas, named David Mabry. And me and Douglas and David are gonna record a new Texas radio album here in a couple of months. But yeah, Daddy Was a Gun is a song that I wrote about my grandfather, who I never knew. He died before I was born. It's a special song for me. And the way it came about was, my grandfather, this is my father's father. That's where my Cherokee Indian heritage comes from. His mother was Cherokee Indian and had, come over when she was very, very young, like from Tennessee, and her mom on the Trail of Tears. And her and my grandfather actually used to speak Cherokee together. But back then, you hid the fact that you were Cherokee or you were Indian because it wasn't cool. And so it was very downplayed. No one in my family talked about it. And it didn't really come out until, one of my distant cousins decided to do all this research and found it all out. And since then, I've become a member of the Cherokee Nation. And I'm really proud of the fact that my grandfather was Cherokee. And it's important to me, and I've always sort of loved, I think that we have a lot that we can learn and from the Native American perspective. And I think, part of my mission on this planet is to sort of help bring some of that into the 21st century, because, what we need now, I think, is something ancient, something old, something very special and magical, that's been dormant for a long time. I mean, as we enter the 21st century, where the door is wide open, I mean, my God, we have the power of God now. Do you know what I mean? Human beings have the power that throughout history we would attribute to a God. You know what I mean? In writing about it, we have that power, yet we don't have by any means the perspective or the temperance or the wisdom of God. Do you know what I mean? So we're in a dangerous place. And I feel like there's something, happening on our planet right now. I feel like there's an ancient signal, which I like to call the spirit. And I get that from the Native American perspective, the great spirit, and that flows through everything. That's in, all things the spirit flows through. That's, everything is connected. Everything is alive. That's the way almost all first people look at things that way. Not just Native Americans, first people throughout the world, and we've so much, lost sight of that, and that reverence, and so in a way, I believe, I look at things as, things are sacred to me. Nature is sacred. Music is sacred. When I play music, to me, it's a sacred experience, So anyway, this is so thank you, Granddad, who I wrote the song about, who I never knew. Now, as well as being, giving me my Cherokee heritage, he was also quite a character. And we're pretty sure he was a bootlegger. And we know for a fact that he didn't take any gruff off of anybody and that he did some pretty crazy things, getting arrested in Mexico for barroom homicides and things, and getting broken out of jail in Mexico by his brothers and outrunning the federales from Mexico across the Texas border. And he, I don't know. So he maybe did some things, he was known to be could be a pretty scary guy. He had, I guess, a violent, he wasn't a stranger to violence. And so my dad doesn't really talk about him that much, but my aunt I talk to about all the time. And one time we were talking about him, and I'm always just saying, tell me this about him, tell me that. And she calls him Daddy. That's what she called him. His name was Daddy. Now, other people in the family called him Big Brother. right? But she called him daddy. So she was trying to explain to me one time the nature of his spirit, you know? And the thing is, she's like, oh yeah, he was scary and he was dangerous, but he was the most courageous, most honorable person too. He was a contradiction. What did Chris Christopherson say? He's a walking contradiction, just like we all are. Okay. And he might have been a particularly extreme one. But anyway, and that's what the song is about. You'll see. But the way I got Daddy Was a Gun. So my aunt was telling me about him, and she was relating a particular event where he got into some trouble with somebody in the mafia in Dallas. He was flirting with this mafia guy's girlfriend, and the guy didn't like it, and the guy pulled out a gun and shot my grandfather. But my grandfather always wore hats, shot my grandfather in the head, but the bullet went between the top of his hat and his head because there was some space there.
Like the old Wild West stories.
I mean, like for real. Okay, so this happened. And it's actually a very famous mafia family down there in Texas, which we're not going to mention. But anyway, and this is back in the 20s when Deep Ellum in Dallas, I think we were talking earlier about Deep Ellum, was off to, so my granddad, when he was doing his bootleg, and he was a big gambler too, huge gambler, doing his womanizing and gambling and God knows what else, he was going to Dallas and doing it in Deep Ellum, which is where I went and did my theater and my music, man. You know, isn't that weird? It's just so weird that came back there. But anyway, so he got it. So this guy shot him, and then everyone broke it up. And the story goes that my grandfather quietly left the bar, and that was it. Walked out, and all we know is that the guy that shot a hole in his hat was never seen again. He just disappeared. So, because I guess my grandfather really liked his hats. So anyway, this is like, it's intense. Okay. So this is what's informing the song. So she was telling me about this whole thing where and by the way, this is a fearless man, right? That does this with somebody who's a known member of the Italian mafia. I mean, fearless or crazy or both. So anyway, she was like she goes, you don't understand, Cardi. And by the way, he didn't have a gun, right? The other guy shot him, but he didn't do anything with a gun. And who knows what he did? He didn't use guns a lot. Okay. Just to say, whatever. He wasn't a big gun nut. I'm sure he had them. But my aunt was like she goes, Cardi, you don't understand about your grandfather. She goes, Daddy didn't have no gun. Daddy didn't need no gun. Daddy was a gun. That's what she said to me. Daddy was a gun. And I just went, kabing! Aunt Millie, she's my Cherokee witch aunt. I call her my Cherokee witch aunt. We have all these beautiful conversations. I'm like, ding! Aunt Millie, do I have your permission to write a song? Because what you just said, it just went, it's a fireball in my head. And I got to sit down and go write it right now. And literally within a couple of days, I just sat down and started writing it. From what she said, Daddy didn't have no gun. Daddy didn't need no gun. Daddy was a gun. Let me play it for you after that story. I don't usually talk about my songs that much, but it's
fascinating story.
Yeah, no, it's meaningful to me. I mean, the thing is, I feel my grandfather alive in me, but I never knew him. Do you know what I mean? So this is me, because I've got him in me, I promise you. The good and the bad of it, the strength and the potential danger, So my aunt telling me about these things and writing this song was very me dealing with that and bringing it in, and like it's beautiful. It makes me feel closer to him. So real quick, because it's kind of hot here, I had to wear my cool Western shirt that Lisa Tom Chesson, who is Scott Matthews' wife, right? He's dead now, but she was his wife. She's a costume designer and a brilliant artist. She gave me this shirt. Isn't it great? And so I got to take it off because it's so hot. And lo and behold, look what I have underneath my amazingly cool Western shirt. And it even matches my Western shirt.
It does. The Country Jam.
It's the Country Jam Session t-shirt. And can I say that you did a really good job on it, man? I love it.
Thank you, brother.
And
it looks really good on you.
And yeah, man, I'm digging it, man. I feel good in it. I feel good. I feel, you know what I feel like? I feel excellent. And I'm feeling, wait a second, I'm feeling a little daddy coming on.
Oh.
So this is going to be the low-key version of the song. All right, I'm gonna just sort of keep it quiet and low, and you can hear the story here.
Let it flow, brother.
By the way, my aunt, when I played it for my aunt for the first time over the phone, because she lives in Texas, she like pretty much started crying. And she's like, that's him. That's what she said. She goes, you did it, Carl. She goes, I don't know how you, she goes, that's him. And I'm telling you, man, okay, I mean, this is the way I am. And this is the way I, but his spirit came into me when I wrote that song. You know what I mean? It was like, it was writing me. I feel his presence. I feel like my grandfather, Daddy, has protected me many times in my life. That's some spooky Indian stuff. This is for you, Granddad. Daddy didn't have no gun. Daddy didn't need no gun. Daddy was a gun. Daddy was a sinner. Daddy was a saint. Daddy was a winner. Daddy was a blank. Daddy went to hell in a basket full of whiskey and pain. It drove him insane. Daddy was a poet, but it wasn't no priest. Daddy was a savior. Daddy was a beast. Daddy drank his liquor for breakfast before he brushed his teeth. Run! Daddy was a gun. Daddy was a gun. Daddy was a gun. If you wanted something to get it, Daddy got it done. Daddy was a gambler, but it wasn't no cheat. Daddy was a rambler, but it wasn't no thief. Daddy did a man in Dallas just for giving him grief. Run! Daddy was a gun. Daddy was a gun. Daddy was a gun. If you wanted something to get it, Daddy got it done. Daddy was a gun. So that was for Daddy.
Love it. Love it. Now, you had mentioned that, you went through the desert there for a while. You needed to find yourself and recollect yourself. And you came out the other side all the stronger for it. How did the opportunity present itself for you to make Not Exactly Nashville? Because in the promo for the record, you're thankful to have the chance. You're like, this is my shot. I'm going to do this. So how was that opportunity presented to you?
Well, it's funny because I'm gonna put on my sunglasses here. It's funny because I love my sunglasses, but I took them off for a while, on purpose. See if I could. You know what, man? It was like the wildest thing. It literally, as much as making a movie was like on my hit list for sure, making a record, getting a record deal was, not just making it myself, but actually getting a little record deal. Somebody else, I didn't have to pay for it myself. And so, it just dropped out of the sky, out of nowhere. And the funny thing is, and I think I told you this when we were talking, is that, I had just, like, me and Douglas have been recording for a couple of years, and I put all our best takes together, and I just got it mastered by this amazing guy in Dallas who did it for free. He's so cool. At the kitchen, it's called the Kitchen Studio in Dallas. This guy JP, I think that's his name. But he's super cool, and he mastered it for free. Had it all ready to go. I was just about to release it, you know what I mean, on my own, on, one of those online services to get on Spotify and all that stuff. And then boom, I got a phone call. This guy in New York who's friends of a friend of mine there, heard some of my music and is interested in doing a record with me, and financing it. I think the budget was like $10,000, which is like, so, and like a real record, rent a studio, get session musicians, producer. I'd never done anything like that before. Okay. But I wanted to. It's just like, remember when I said 11 to 45? I'd never made a movie before. I'd never been in a movie set, but I wanted to. And it's not like I hadn't prepared for it. I just hadn't done it. You know what I mean? But I prepared for it. But you can never, see what I've learned, man, is you never can prepare for anything really. You just got to jump. You got to jump, so I jump. But I'm always ready when I jump. I'm checking the water. I'm checking things out. I'm not just an idiot, Sometimes I'm an idiot. But anyway, so I got a call. So my friend said this producer in LA named Cisco De Luna is going to give you a call and talk to you about it. It wasn't a done deal. I had to go meet with the Cisco, and he had to see if I seemed like I'd be good to work with, So Cisco came over to my house, and we just, first of all, I'm like, Cisco De Luna is the guy's name. I'm like, I'm already intrigued. The moon, and I'm like, okay. And, I checked out his stuff, and he's produced lots of cool stuff, cool punk records. He did a lot of stuff on movie soundtracks. He's been doing it his whole life. And he's done a lot of cool stuff. He's great. I love him. He's like a brother to me. And so he came over and we talked, and I, kind of like I am with you, you know what I mean? Because I thought we might be working together. I told him straight out where I was coming from, where these songs had come from, what it meant to me, that this was more, that I wasn't just like some guy wanting to be a rock star, pop music, that this was sacred to me. You know what I mean? Because it is. And I've learned to, because I only want to work with people that understand that. And if they don't, that's fine, but we talked about it. He totally got it. And then he said, I want to hear your songs just raw, acoustically. You play me some of your songs like I just played for you. So I started playing him the songs, and after the first one, which I could actually play you, the first one I played him, he's like, play another one, play another one. We should do that one, play another one. I played him like 8 songs, and then he left, and then I got a call. It's like, they want to do it, So, cause I knew it was kind of like an audition, and whatever. I am not a professional musician. I don't consider myself a musician. I consider myself, I just use this as a device, to make stuff. But these guys are real musicians, I have so much respect for them. So, as you might even get a vibe in that little promo thing, I was a little nervous and all that, And then, of course, I've recorded a lot with my friends, but never in a studio where you had like 8 hours to get like 5 songs, you know what I mean? No mess ups, no do-overs, 2 takes. That's it, basically. We did all these songs in like 2 takes. So it kind of dropped out of the sky. I met Cisco. I never could have done it with anybody. He's so great. I think you interviewed him, right?
We're going to see some pre-recorded video with Cisco during the commercial breaks. But he's super excited, had nothing but wonderful things to say about the recording process and working with you. And you guys experienced a little bit of trouble technically.
Yeah, we did. He doesn't like to talk about it.
He doesn't. He wouldn't talk about it.
No, I know. And that's okay and whatever, because it wasn't his fault. It wasn't anybody's fault. And this kind of stuff happens to me. You know, again, it's like there's this, like, somebody's out there going, let's turn the volume up on Cardi just a little bit. Make it'll hone him better. Do you know what I mean? Let's make it tougher. Let's see what he's made of. You know what I mean? I swear, dude, that's what my life, I'm like, but here's the deal. I'm like, you can't stop me. You can't stop me. Don't you understand? And they're like, yeah, we're starting to understand. But anyway, so in that thing, so with Cisco, you know, we had, it was a very demanding record, very physically demanding. We worked long out, you know, and in 2 days, super long. And, you know, I was exhausted. And so then I had to go do the lead vocals at his studio. We didn't do the lead vocals at the big studio. I could do it. He's got a great mic there in his home studio. It's called Barnstar Studio. And it's awesome. It's just a small little building off of his house. It's great. And so I went in there, and in about 4 intensive days, I did the lead vocals for all the songs. And we wanted them to, I mean, and those, to equal the music that they're playing in that thing, dude, it's, I mean, the vocals, you gotta have it, man. You know, it's gotta be, because the music is big, you know what I mean? And so I was like, we did it, and we thought we nailed it. We felt like we nailed it. You know, we worked really hard. I was so tired. My voice was, you know, I pushed it so hard. I'm like, oh, I'm going to sleep for 2 days. Because I've been working a lot for Jail Guitar Doors, teaching kids in the prisons and in the probation camps, the community centers. So I was beat, man. I'd really been working hard. I burning the candle all over the place. And so I was so relieved. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's good. We did it, and I'm done. And oh, boy, thank God. Because I was so nervous about it all, man. Especially the lead vocals, right? And that night, as I was sitting there going, I can't wait to last, the phone rings. I actually have the phone rings, and I pick it up, and it's Cisco. And he's like, hey, Cardi, how's it going? I'm like, it's going pretty good. How are you? He's like, not so great, man. Something kind of happened. I'm like, oh, shit. You know, what happened? He's like, well, I don't really know. It's never happened before in my entire life. You know what I mean? But somehow the hard drive that we had all of the vocals on, and I mentioned not only just my vocals, lead vocals, but all of his extra instrumental stuff, like mini track, a week's worth of work, lots of work. It just got erased, and I don't know how, and I can't, it's gone. Everything's gone. I'm like, not the original recording tracks, right? But all the stuff we did at his studio, it's all gone. All the stuff that I'm like, thank God we nailed that, we got. And I'm just like, oh my God. You know what I mean? And I stopped. I couldn't believe it for a second, because I was like, it was overwhelming for a second. I think I actually screamed, not at him. I just went, ah, like that. And then I stopped. And then I said, okay, well, now we're just going to make it better. You know what I mean? What else are you going to do? And I was so tired, man. I really was. And he said, can you be here tomorrow morning at 8, like 10 a.m.? And I'm like, yep. So I went right back there, and we re-recorded everything, even when I thought I couldn't have, and it was better. And it was better. And it's better. It's good that it, I mean, it wasn't bad before, but we got somewhere better by going through all that hell.
Maybe it was Daddy watching over.
I'm telling you, Daddy's, when I say I feel Daddy's presence, I ain't lying. I ain't lying. I'm kind of playing some mellow songs today, just for the acoustic kind of thing. I think this is the first song I played Cisco. It's the last song on the record. It's called Given Sight. And this is, if, you know, talking about the desert, this is what I learned in the desert. This is a good song to play right now, because this is a song about the desert and where I am now and what I learned there. Up, been down, been lost, been found, been needed. High, been low, been bought, been sold, been cheated. You've been me, been caged, been free, then repeated. And I never look back, never look back, I never look back. Never look back, never look back, I never look back. Drag through the darkness and the light. Rode through the wrongness to the right. Blinded by the truth, branded by the light. Blinded by the truth, given sight. Yeah, blinded by the truth, branded by the light. Blinded by the truth, given sight. Sight. Give it sight.
Beautiful, beautiful. The one thing that I really enjoy about the record, and I promised you that we would mention this on the show, is that upon first listen, you automatically know that it's a solid record. I mean, I put it on the first time. I'm doing other things in the background, but I'm listening to it, and I'm like, man, this is really good. It's it's a pretty solid record. Second time I listen to it, I start picking up on the deeper meaning with some of the lyrics. Third time I listen to it, it gets even deeper. And now every single song on the record just touches my soul when I hear it. To the point that several weeks back, you and I were texting, and just everything with the pandemic was getting me down. The discord between brothers and sisters in this country was getting me down. And I just shut off the damn news. I had some wood burning work to do that day. And I shut the news off. Shut the outside world off. And I put on Not Exactly Nashville. And I texted you afterwards. And I said, thank you, brother. I said, I just was getting really down with everything that's going on in the world, and I just blocked it out and put your record on, man. And it lifted my spirits and made me reflect and think, and just it touches you, man. Once you really delve into the record, it's a very touching record. So
that means so much to me. You know what I mean? What I got to tell you is, like, I feel like the Spirit reached out and touched you through that music. The Spirit that came through me. I'm just going to say it, man, because there is something bigger than all of us. You know what I mean? There is a force that connects all of us, just like the Native Americans believe. So the extraordinary thing to me is, do you see it? Is that here's where, literally science has come all the way back around to the divine. Do you know what I mean? We're back. We're at the center. We're at the source. We have the cutting edge of scientists at CERN who are like reaching out and touching the sacred and the divine and finding that there, and finding that when you talk about a spirit that runs through everything. And when I say spirit, I don't mean a ghost, man. I mean an energy. You know what I mean? That it's real, that it's measurable. Do you know what I mean? That it's like, that it's scientific as well as sacred. Do you know what I mean? And so I feel like we're living the most exciting time in human history right now. I know it, in fact.
And if people, you and I have talked in depth about this too, it's like, if you just stop and listen to what's going on around you. Silence says so much if you just listen to it.
Then you can hear the spirit, right? Then you can see that the thing is, everything that you're looking for, that you're yearning for, that you're thirsting for, it's all right in front of you. Do you know what I mean? It's like a magic trick that some illusionist has done, where like everything that you think you need is right there in front of you, but you can't see it. You know what I mean? Because it's clouded, you know? And that's why I love the little saying, and I'm not even sure where it came from, but it works perfectly, which is like, clean but the mirror and the message shines forth. You know what I mean? It's not about it's like, just clean off your lens. And that's what you said, you know? And let me tell you something. I've learned more from being in my backyard and looking at the flowers and the insects and the squirrels and the birds and all that, and the way things grow and the way that I can steward them and make them grow and work with them and see the magic of life. Every answer is there. It's all there. Everything you need to know. But you have to have the eyes and the ears to receive it. Take a lot of time to connect with what's real and what's important. And that's in your backyard. Go get a plant. Grow a plant. You got to stay connected to nature, because nature is where God, quote unquote, is. Do you know what I mean? Where the spirit is, you know? And it's not out in outer space. And it doesn't live in a big mausoleum called a church. You know what I mean? In a big stone thing. And it doesn't go through that guy and this guy. It's everywhere.
Most certainly, brother. Even the hat on your head. Even the hat on your head has significance, which before we get into this, I have to say also, too, I changed it up. I wore a different hat today. This one's very significant to me because my father gave it to me. He passed it down to me. So I got my dad's cap on, and I think of him every time I'm wearing it. And your hat, which you're wearing on the album cover for Not Exactly Nashville, has a very significant meaning to it.
Yeah, it does. And it has multiple significance, the feather and the hat. You know, in my little artist statement bio thing, which I think I sent you or whatever, I talk about this and how, you know, I quit drinking like 10 years ago. It was like pouring gasoline on a fire for me. I'd been a big drinker. It was one of the biggest parts of my life for my whole life. We talked about this privately, you know, and I just, you know what? It's funny because, you know, the thing that made me, there's two things. One, I totally began to, when I suddenly realized that my creativity was being affected and my ability to do what I'm really here to do was going to be sacrificed over that. That's when I was like, done. Because I used to use it to my advantage, I thought, and I did a little bit. But what were you going to say?
Alcohol was the fog that you needed to clean off the mirror.
That's why, exactly. And, you know, the great thing about, you know, just really quickly, I'm sorry, but the great thing about the transformation that is going to happen, it's happening in the world right now and will continue to happen because we're transforming. We're going to a new place, you know, is that it's not about having some kind of foreign ideology inculcated into you. You got to follow. It's what you just said. The place we need to go is already in our hearts. Do you understand? We don't have to put anything there. We've just lost touch with it. So yes, yeah, it's all about that. The thing is, if you start having to put stuff into people, I'm a little bit skeptical of that. But if all you're doing is just a janitor dusting off the seed in their heart so it can grow, then you're just a blue collar worker making things grow. Don't you see? Like, I think of myself as a gardener. And I look at like the whole, like world, like everything as a garden in which to improve and prune and participate in and grow. So anyway, that's what I think art is. And I think that artists are going to save the world. You know that, you know, and art is sacred to me. And
right now during the pandemic, art has more significance now than it ever has. It's getting people through such a trying time.
Absolutely. And the thing is, Johnny, we're creators. See, human beings, we're creators. We're also destroyers. You know, we're creators that can be destroyers if we don't watch ourselves, and they both come from a similar place. You got to watch it. Human beings need guidance, you know, but what we're really not is consumers. We may be destroyers sometimes, and that's the downside, but we're creators, we're makers, we're gardeners. We need to make things grow. Do you know what I mean? And when we don't, it leaves a hole in our soul. You know, I got a new song I'm writing called Feed Your Soul, and it's all about that, which I almost wish I could play it now, but another time. But, you know, anyway, I mean, the thing is, man, and so for me, and I'm just saying, you know, for me, my music is an extension of this. Like I want, you know, it's like an art project, you know what I mean? And I'm so excited about where we are right now. I know it's scary. I know it's hairy, but it's where we gotta be to go where we need to go. Do you know what I mean? And I know for a fact, like my wanderings in the desert and all the tough things I've been through, the crucible, I've had a lifetime full of crucibles, cooking me and honing me and like getting rid of the impurities. You know what I mean? And it's what's necessary for transformation. A little fire is necessary. You know?
And so getting back to your hat and the story behind your hat.
Oh, yeah, right. My hat, because I just jumped off of that. So my hat, you know, basically I was talking about quitting drinking. And one of the events that kind of like really started me on the path to quitting drinking. It took me a while. I didn't just go, boom, I'm done. You know, it took me years of starting. Was, you know, I was in this car with this girl and I'd been sober for a long time, and then we started drinking, and you know, the next thing I know, she said something that really bothered me, and I jumped out of her car going like 40 miles an hour, and then I don't really remember much after that. You know, funnily enough, the reason I jumped out of her car is because we were arguing about how she like went to this church where they all pray for like BMWs and $1 million bank accounts, and it's called the Church of Plentiful. You know, it's like a Bible church, but it's okay to pray for material things. And like, to me, that's just like, that's not the way I roll. And I was so upset by what her saying. It's so sacrilegious to me that I jumped out of the car. No, I think I was I think the alcohol loosened me up a little bit. I jumped out of the car, and that's the last thing I remember, man. And the next thing I remember is waking up in a car. Okay, but not her car, and having no idea where I was. No idea. And like, I'm in a car, I wake up, you know, I'm like, where am I? And it's like an old vintage, like Ford pickup, like cherry and beautiful inside, old, 50s maybe. And I'm like, what is going on? And I thought I was in her car and I didn't know where I was. And then I had something under my head that I was sleeping on, you know, something that I felt under my head in this car that when I woke up, it was like a Twilight Zone episode, literally. I woke up, nothing around, in this abandoned car, and there's a green Gideon's Bible under my head. You know, not that you know, I mean, I'm just like, I wake up in this car. I don't know how I got there. I feel like I'm in purgatory, kind of. I'm looking around. Nothing's around. I got a Gideon's Bible under my head. I look at it. I'm like, that's weird. I'm sleeping on a Bible. I get out of the car. I think that I'm near our hotel room. I go to knock on the door. Thinking my girlfriend is inside there, and I realize that it's an abandoned building, that there's no hotel, and that I'm in an abandoned car, and I look around and I'm in an abandoned like area in like a desert. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing around me. I look across the street, across the highway, and I mean, there's some things around me, but it's just like desolate. And it's the Navajo Indian Reservation. The Navajo Nation Reservation. I'm on their land, basically. And I don't know what to do. I don't really know what happened. It's like waking up, like I said, in a Twilight Zone episode. And then I slowly put together like, oh yeah, you know, but I didn't even know how I got there. How did I get in this car? So anyway, eventually my friend came back and found me and picked me up, and we you know, took off. And I was just really shaken up by the whole thing. And I was like, you know, I mean, it couldn't have been like it was like, I call it like a crossroads moment. You know what I mean? Where I literally woke up in an abandoned car on
with Gideon's Bible.
Right? Yeah, with sleeping on a Bible at a crossroads in the Navajo Indian Reservation. Okay? You know what I mean? Not knowing how I got there.
Some type of Robert Johnson moment.
Yeah. I mean, it was, and it was scary and weird. And when I didn't even know what I was going to do, I would have figured something out. You know, I always do. But it got my attention. So anyway, but at that time, so right afterwards, she said, okay, let's get your mind off all this. Cause I felt kind of weirded out by the whole thing. And she was probably too. And so we went to we went to go look around. We were in Arizona, this really cute Bisbee, Arizona. And it's a beautiful, cool little touristy town. And we were looking around, having fun and trying to forget about what just happened kind of. And, I went into this hat shop and I suddenly was like, wanted to get a hat in here. I just felt compelled. And I saw this hat and there was a lot of other hats, but this hat was the only one that was like $99. You know, the rest were like $500 and stuff, really expensive. And it had a kind of a rock and roll-y kind of metal-y thing around it, kind of Stevie Ray Vaughan-y kind of thing, you know what I mean? Which I was okay with. I kind of just wanted, I was drawn to getting it. And I wanted something to remind me of this moment, of what happened. And, you know, I couldn't even really afford to get a hat, but I wanted to get one. And so I said, that's the only one I can afford. And he goes, well, it's a decent hat. You know what I mean? It's the lowest end hat I'll carry because my standards are really high, but I'll let you have that hat. But he goes, but I won't let you have it with that cheesy band on it. He goes, I'm going to make you a band. It was literally like, you know, talking about the weird spirit coincidences. This guy's like, I've got to give you something special. And I said to him, he goes, I'm going to make you something special. And I said, but I can't afford to pay for anything. He goes, I'm going to give it to you. So anyway, he's like, I want to give you something special. He goes, I want to give you Navajo silver. I'm going to make you a nice band. So he got this Navajo silver. He made this band. You know what I mean? It was his idea. He insisted on it and he gave it to me. It was like $200, just the band, like double the price of the hat, but he insisted. So I took it. And, which made it even more special. Right. And so, yeah, after, funnily enough, I said a thing. I promised myself, well, you know, on the cover of my record, I'm definitely not going to be on my record cover with a picture of me wearing my hat. I'm going to make it something different because that seems so like whatever. But then I went to go work with this photographer friend of mine. He took this picture of me wearing the hat and it just was cool. I mean, you know what I mean? And the label guy's like, we got to use it. You know what I mean? So I ended up doing the thing. So yeah, so this hat is loaded with mojo. It's loaded with the mojo from the Navajo Nation. It's loaded with the mojo of the hat maker who, I mean, I'm sorry, but I figure gave me a magic hat, like a blessing. He blessed me. Do you know what I mean? He gave me a magical piece of silver. He insisted on it. I didn't even pay him. He trusted me. He gave it to me. I couldn't leave without it. So to me, it's very special. And the thing that puts it over the top, and it's imbued with magical powers, properties, maybe not powers, properties. And the thing that puts it over the top is my buddy, Chief Philip Whiteman Jr., who's the chief of the Northern Cheyenne Nation in Montana, Lame Deer, Montana. He's a great guy. We're kind of partners on our River of the Spirit mission. And I work with him and we work together. I'm going to go visit the nation and the reservation and all that stuff here as soon as I can. But anyway, I went to go help him and I advise him a lot. And I helped him in Las Vegas. I met him in Las Vegas where he was doing an interview and did a lot of work for him or whatever. And when it was all over, he presented me with this gold flicker feather, a feather in my cap. Because, you know, Indians, you know, you get feathers for achievements and things like that. He didn't make a big deal of it, but he goes, Clement. He calls me Clement. It's my real first name. He's like, I want you to have this feather. And I've had it for my whole, it's a very special feather. It's gold too. It shines in the sun, brother. And he gave it to me. And so I put it in my hat. So with the feather in my hat, it's, and Texcalibur, by the way, this is Texcalibur, named after Excalibur, but with a Texas edition. So between my magical hat and my magical guitar, things are magical. Let me play one more song.
Yeah, I was going to say, we have one more break before the show. We'll go into our last half or the last part of the show. So if you could carry us into the break with another song, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'm going to play, speaking of magic and spirit, I'm going to play Ghost, which is on the record. This is the stripped down acoustic version. and I play this awesome Texas radio. And this is a love song for my secret, hidden spirit lover from another dimension. If we're lucky, she knows this song is for her, and if we're lucky, she'll join us.
Before you go into the song, she was with you a little bit at the beginning before we started filming today.
Well, Jake noticed, and you noticed too, that this light that we kept turning off kept turning on back there. Look, I'm not a big thing about lights turning on and off and that, whatever. And when my experience with my spirit, my spirit love, it's not like that really, but that light was turning on and off. So she gets excited about the music. See, the thing is, like, if I can make her dance, then I know it's on. Do you know what I mean? And so, most of the time when I play, I can feel her dancing around me, and I know she's with me. So I wrote her this song because I love her. Don't we all have a spirit lover? I think we do.
I believe so.
I think we do. She's something. I don't know what it is. There's mysteries, but I feel her presence. She gives me strength, and she likes to dance to my music. So I wrote her a song. It's called Ghost. I really dig the way you fade away. I really dig the way you fall apart. I look into my mirror and it's empty. Are you need me? Please just don't fit back into my heart. I pray you will. I pray you won't. I pray all day. I am a ghost. I am a ghost. Learning to fade. I'm floating away. Back to where I'm from. And your ghost starting to sway. You swaying all day on your invisible sun. Well, it's alright. Day turns to night. We'll ride the white light back to where we're from. Truth's a monster, there is no doubt. That monster chewed you up and spit you out. You thought that you were bleeding, but really you were dreaming. That monster chewed you up and spit you out. You pray it will. You pray it won't. You pray all day, 'cause you are ghosts. You are ghosts. You're learning to fade. You're floating away back to where you're from. And I'm a ghost starting to sway. I'm sweating all day on my invisible sun. Well, it's alright. Day turns to night. We ride the white light back to where we're from. We ride the white light. We ride the white light. We ride the white light back to where we begun. The invisible sun. My invisible sun. Invisible sun. Invisible sun. My invincible sun.
Beautiful. Love it. Ladies and gentlemen, that was C.M. Talkington with Ghost off of his debut record, Not Exactly Nashville. We're going to go into our final break before we get into the last part of the show. I want to start off the break with a video that I actually made for you for the song Gonna Rain. And when we come back, we'll talk about that video and the idea that it sparked for you.
Sounds like a good plan, my friend.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back.
Inside your eyes, it's gonna wash away the lies. So hang on, hang on, hang on. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Gonna rain. Come clouds, you come the wind, yes, blowing in, here come the lightning and the thunder, lightning and the thunder, here come the lightning and the thunder. Lightning and thunder, it's gonna wash away your pain, wash away your shame, wash away your doubt, your guilt, your fear. Gonna wash away your name, wash away your fame. Wash away the sorrow inside your tears. Gonna rain. Gonna rain. Gonna rain inside your heart. Rain inside your heart. Rain light down on the dark. Marshall, Marshall, Marshall. song, my song, my song. Go rain, go rain, go to pain, go to pain. Go rain, go rain, go rain. Go rain, go rain, go rain, go rain.
Hi, I'm Cisco De Luna, and I'm the producer on C.M. Talkington's record, Not Exactly Nashville, and here we are. We met through mutual friends who ran a label in New Jersey actually, and his friend called me and said, you gotta meet this guy because he's got some songs that we're interested in. He's got demos that I want to know what you can do with the demos. And I heard the demos and I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know that maybe they're just meant to be that. And I don't want to touch them, because that's what he really intended to have as, the song. And the more we talked, the more they talked me into, well, you go meet him. So, all right, he's right down the hill. So I went and met him. I was intrigued by this guy because, I knew who he was as a director, but there was some energy in him that was really intriguing, and he really wanted to have like a better shot at making his songs into something, a body of work. They were just demos at this point, and I told him, look, man, I don't know if I'm the right guy. We need to work on a few things, and he was very willing to work on things. And we went through a few songs, and I knew after hearing 2 or 3 songs, man, I got to work on this. This is going to be good. I called the guys back east. I said, you know what? I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to get involved and do it. And they put through the budget, and in about a month, we were making a record.
Tasted like money. Your water was deep. Your river was running. I like the way you talk. I like the way you walk. I like the way you stalk. I like the way you. Yes, I'm there. Are you coming?
What was important to me was that Cardi be straight out front in the sound. And many times when you produce records, it's all about the production and all about the instruments and really how it frames against the artist. But in truth, when you listen to Cardi, it's like you have to approach it like a spoken word record, or very much like a preacher, preaching to a congregation. And if I were, but at the same time, there had to be intensity in it because his message is very intense, and it was very much something that would come to fruition. I mean, the times we're living now, that's what Cardi was singing about. And I didn't want to lose that in the production, so I thought, we got to keep this sparse, but it's got to rock, and it's got to be very Texan. He's a Texas guy, and it's got to sound like that. So a lot of it was picking the right musicians, picking the right studio, and then letting Cardi loose. Let him loose, man. Let him run around and do his thing. And that's what he did, basically. He was like free to go. And I think it was important to him, to be a free guy in the studio, and it happened. It was great to watch,
Welcome back to the Country Jam Sessions. This is your host, Johnny Daggers. And joining me for the final segment is C.M. Talkington, musician, actor, writer, director, a Renaissance man.
A madman. Yeah. Okay.
Welcome back, brother.
I'm mad to be here. Mad at
Well, I
again.
hope you're having as much fun as I am because this has been a blast.
I am.
The last commercial break that we had, we led into the break with a video that I did for you, just with some found footage. And I just did it for something to play on the show. It was For Gonna Rain, a song off of Not Exactly Nashville. And you kind of have an idea now about, I don't want to give too much away. I'll let you explain it.
Yeah. So you without me saying anything to you, you did something really, really cool, which is put together a little video with found footage. You didn't go and shoot anything. I loved it. I have another friend of mine too, and he did a video for one of my songs, one for Are You Coming? And with both of those things happening, I'm like, wait a second. And it was so cool what you guys did, and it gave me an idea. I'm like, you know what? I want to, get people listening to my music, of course. That's why I wrote it. That's why I'm doing it, But I want it to be fun and cool, and I want to connect with them. So I came up with this idea for an online video festival. At first, it was a contest, but now I'm calling it a festival. So it's more, contests are kind of lame in a way. Though there will be some prizes of some sort, records, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Posters from 11 to 45. But I want to get people making videos at home with their phones or on, found footage or whatever they got, I'm like, nothing will stop you. There's no limitations. Just make some kind of image thing, accompaniment to these songs, and we'll have a big festival, and everyone will watch it online. And hopefully I'll give prizes to everyone that submitted one. But if I don't have enough, then I guess I'll have to figure it out. But we're going to celebrate creation. Do you know what I mean? And so I'm trying to get people to create things, and at the same time, it's getting them involved in my music too, which, I want to do that. So hopefully everybody wins.
How many? 5 lucky contestants will be featured? How many will be featured on the Country Jam Sessions?
Well, no, basically anybody who enters this contest is going to receive my undying loyalty and love for the rest of their lives, which goes a long way.
We're going to feature the videos on the Country Jams.
Yeah, and then we're on your show. You have kindly offered to feature, the top 5 videos. We'll just have to figure it all out on your show. Or the top 1 or 2, whatever we can work out. And I'm going to also promote these videos and put them up on the websites and put them on my thing. And then I want to have like a big, they have these watch parties now. So where it's kind of fun. You can like comment and snark and talk and whatever and laugh. So I want to have a big watch party for these videos. So we'll see how many people do them, we'll see. But I I think it'll be fun, and I think it'll make people feel good to do it, and I think it'll be. I think it's just a all around cool, creative, positive situation.
When you called me and mentioned the idea, I thought that it was absolutely phenomenal. You know, it brings everyone together collectively, whether you're an artist or not an artist or a filmmaker or an amateur or have no experience whatsoever. Like Cardi said, pick up your cell phone, or if you are, you know, a seasoned filmmaker that you have a camera, pick up your film camera, whatever it may be, and just make
whatever
art.
you got. Yeah, and there's no rules and there's no limitations except for be courageous, be committed. Do you know what I mean? And create. The 3 C's. Courage, commitment, and creation. Do you know what I mean? With those things and a few others, but you know what? That's how real magic happens. Art is magic. You know what I mean? And so, you know, and by the way, here we are, everyone's locked down at home. Do you know what I mean? With while we deal with this situation, the virus situation. So we'll see what happens, man.
You're doing the jail guitar doors.
Well, you know, that I don't look at that as a good deed. I look at that as part of my purpose in life and my mission here, which is, you know, let's put it this way, you know, art and music and film saved my life. You know what I mean? And I know for a fact that most criminals are just frustrated artists. So I like to go in and talk, you know, I work with kids and adults who are imprisoned, you know, adults who are in real prison. More so, I work with teenagers, a lot of gangbangers from East LA and South Central, who are incarcerated in probation camps here in LA and in juvie. I also work with kids at community centers. And the idea is to harness their energy and focus it in a creative direction instead of a destructive direction. Remember, we were talking about creation. I mean, I think human beings are creators. Unfortunately, we're also destroyers, but we're not consumers. Okay. So back to that. So my job, my mission with these guys is to get all their fire flowing in the right direction towards creation and not destruction. And I love it, man. And and the guys I work with are the most hardened teenage criminals in LA County. They're the end of the line. I went and worked with a girls' probation camp for the first time. And I know my guys, they've done some crazy stuff to get in prison or to get, you know, in juvie. But the girls, when I asked them finally, because I don't usually ask them what they did until later I get to know them. I asked this one girl, she was the cutest girl. She was so sweet and she was so great with me and everything. I'm like, so what did you do to get here? And she goes, oh, well, you know, I led, the LA gang unit, 2 helicopters, 7 police cars on a 1.5 hour long, 90-mile-an-hour chase through the streets of East LA. I mean, like, she was bringing a whole show. Helicopters, cops. And I go, how did it end? She goes, oh, I crashed into a wall going about 80 miles an hour. And I'm just like, this girl, and I'm just like, I mean, what she did was crazier than any of the guys did. I'm like, you fled the cops when they tried to arrest you, and you led them on an hour chase through East LA with helicopters and the gang crash unit, multiple cars. And she's like, yep, I was high as a kite. You know, the funny thing is, almost every time they're flying on crystal, on speed, which is also a character in Love at 45. You know what I mean? That's the darkness, as it were. But anyway, yeah, I love jail guitar door. I work at jail guitar doors with Wayne Kramer, who is one of the founders of the MC5. He's a really important person in rock history.
Worked with Billy Bragg.
Billy Bragg and him started it up together. You know, Wayne actually went to prison when he was younger. He was in a state pen for 3 years. And while he was there, of course, he connected with the prisoner and he thought about it and he saw how guitar could really help, channel a lot of destructive energy. And the thing is, man, jail guitar door, I've been working for jail guitar doors now for over 3 years. And we're very popular. Do you know what I mean? We always get asked back. We have prisons calling us, asking us to come there because you know why? Because we calm shit down. Do you know what I mean? When we do our programs and stuff, the rate of violence drops. You know, the rate of recidivism might even drop a little bit. I guess that's, we have to check on that. But we're a very good influence and we bring people together. And let me tell you, man, I see the gang stuff and the tension in my classes. I got different gangs in there. I got different, and a lot of times it's breaking down racially too. The black and the Latino, but man, in my class, I'm like, there's none of that. We're not doing that. That's not going to be here. It comes up a little bit, but they're good. And it's like we create a new space, a safe space, a pure space where we're all just artists supporting each other. And let me tell you something, man. When I see the look in those kids' eyes when they hear back what they did, when they hear back their rap, when they learn how to play guitar, they hear a song, and their glow and their radiance fills the room like sunshine. I'm not kidding. Do you know what I mean? And you just see it and you're like, and it makes them feel like they have worth and purpose. It's powerful medicine, man. Do you know what I mean? So I love doing that. And it probably informs my whole deal. Do you know what I mean? The way I am. And, I see music I don't see music as entertainment. I see it as sacred medicine.
It is. And once they experience something like that, they no longer wish to go out on the street and be mischievous, because I'd rather stay at home and write something on my guitar.
You would like to think that, and it definitely happens more. They still when they get out, that's when they can get in trouble. You know what I mean? And I keep my phone. I give them my information. I'm not supposed to, but like if they need to call me, because the thing is, these guys, I think they like me because they know I'm for real. They know I've been through the desert. They know. They can take a look at me, how beat up I am. They know I'm not bullshitting them. Do you know what I mean? I'm walking the walk. And let me tell you something, man. These guys, they're smart, and they judge you. When they first meet you, all they're looking for is weaknesses. You know what I mean? All they're looking for is what you are. Are you full of shit? To see if they're going to give themselves to you. And so I show them in all my imperfections. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, and I always started off, it sounds cheesy, but the first thing I always say in a new class is, music saved my life. And I want to tell you why. And I want to tell you how. And I want to tell you how it can save yours. You know what I mean? And I love it. I feel like I'm spreading the word, man. I'm spreading the light.
Well, CM, we've had a hell of a show. I've had a blast speaking with you, as always. I feel like we have this kindred spirit thing going on. It's always a pleasure. Please tell our viewers at home where they can check out Not Exactly Nashville, how they can see Love in a 45, and anything else that you have going on.
Yeah, okay. Well, I do, I really want to expose people to my music. It's important to me. And so I will happily promote that. It's pretty simple. My name is C.M. Talkington. My nickname's Cardi. My first name's Clement. But anyway, C.M. Talkington. Just Google that and everything will come up. My record, Not Exactly Nashville, is on Spotify. So you search Not Exactly Nashville, C.M. Talkington, Spotify, iTunes, Deezer, Pandora, YouTube, all of them. It's all on that. Now, and you can stream and listen to the songs for free on Spotify if you have that. If you do go on Spotify, sorry, but please follow me and like a couple of songs. And the most important thing is, take some of my songs and put them on one of your playlists and listen to it. I know that sounds so trivial, but that's actually how the whole machine works. So if you want to be supportive of what I'm doing, please check out my stuff on Spotify and follow me and playlist some of my songs, because that will really be helpful. You can find me on YouTube too, where I put up a lot of videos. I'm going to be putting up a lot of new stuff. Okay. There's a lot of exciting new stuff coming up. I'm going to be directing my first music video for my own music I've ever done in my life. That's coming up soon. I've got I'm releasing a music video another guy did in the next week or two. The guy that I was talking about in relation to you and the contest. And we're going to be doing all kinds of cool stuff. So, C.M. Talkington, all those venues, Not Exactly Nashville. Please get out there and take a look at this stuff. We're going to be going on a really cool ride here for the next year. I'm going to go on tour as soon as I can. And I want to bring people along. So just search C.M. Talkington and Not Exactly Nashville and you'll find me.
Fantastic.
Should I send us out with one final song?
Please do. I didn't want to ask because I know it's been a long show, so I didn't know if you were too tired. But if you would be so kind, that would be fantastic.
I'm never too tired, my friend. I may be too tired, but I'm never too tired. And yeah, sure. Let me do it. I'm just gonna, I like playing this song. I think I played it for you last time. It's not on that Exactly Nashville, but I'm gonna play it anyway. It's called All My Love. Watching the way the white stripes bend over the edge again and again on the road to you. It never ends, but I drive all night just to lay against your light. I'm gonna hold it tight with all of my love. Yeah, all of my fierce love. All of my love. All of my savage love. And I'd run all day just to watch you walk away. And I ain't got no words to say. It's all of my love. Can you take it? It's all of my love. Yeah, nothing can break it. Don't let those demons get you down and out again, rip you up. Yeah, swallow you up in sin. You gotta stand up. Just like a sword inside the sun. You gotta be true. You gotta give it all you love. Are you giving it all you love? Are you giving it all you love? All your love, all your fierce love. Give it all your fierce love. All of your sweet love. Yeah, all of your savage love. It never fades away. Not for a million days. I'm gonna look you in your eyes and say, it's all of my love. It's all of my love.
Fantastic. CM, thank you again, brother. It's been a pleasure. And ladies and gentlemen, C.M. Talkington, Not Exactly Nashville. On sale now. Get yourself a copy.
Right on, right on. It was great being here, Johnny, and thanks for this opportunity to create.
Much love and respect to you, brother.
Much love and respect to you. Yeah, so just real quick, let me take a stab at Brand New Skin, which is off of Not Exactly Nashville. 1, 2, 3. Can you remember what you're born to be? Remember, we set you free when you went climbing your tree and fell out of your limb, fell out of your limb. It wasn't the end. It wasn't the end. Just a brand new skin. You've been living just to give it away. You've been given a chance to say your wings for flying, for climbing again. If you fall out of your limb, fall out of your limb, it won't be the end. It isn't the end. Just a brand new skin. Wriggle again. What you wanna, what you gonna be. What you gotta be, tell me, I need to know. What you wanna be, what you gonna be, what you gotta be, tell me now that you know. Tell me you know. Take my hand. Take my heart, take my brain, take my heart, take me flying, we'll go climbing again, and if we fall out of our limb, fall out of our limb, it won't be the end. It's never the end, just a brand new skin. No, it won't be the end, it's never the end.